So, hello, my name is Chandrakant Redican, and I am from Bullock Cart Poetry to present a few poems that I have composed myself along with my friend and percussionist Parag Bhide. I'll tell you a little bit about what poetry and spoken word poetry is for me, and then I will get on to poems. So spoken word poetry is basically poetry that is meant to be performed in front of an audience. There is a lot of theater element. There are lots of dramatic elements that we put into the poetry. There is a lot of audience interaction that is happening while we do the poetry. The great thing about spoken word poetry is that instead of just keeping poetry in the small circles that are colleges and probably literature fests, we are performing them in live venues exactly where the stand-up comedians are performing. I started this organization, Bullock Cart Poetry, to create and present original and unique spoken word poetry meant for the masses and specifically meant for India and Indian audiences. So my first poem is going to be called Bullock Cart Nation, which embodies what for me is spoken word and what is India at the same time. So here goes. My father taught me how to dream when I was a little child and could not read. He read stories to me until I fell asleep, like the one I will tell you now. Once upon a time, sometime in 1979, the Indian Space Research Organization, a humble yet ambitious unit of a developing nation, rolled out a state-of-art metallic satellite out of its high-tech hangar on a bullock cart. As a country, India was literally bootstrapping its way into space. Being carried in that bullock cart was the pinnacle of the country's technology, the dreams of a nation fighting its way out of ignorance and poverty and a lack of education with all the ambitions of a nation of hungry people. And I'm not just talking about the 250 million starving for food. Hunger is more than just food or basic amenities. It is about a better way of life and access to opportunities. And by this consideration, we are a nation now of 1.1 billion hungry people. And I was one of them. One of 1.1 billion specks clustering in one of the 638,000 villages sprinkled over this land from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. As a child, I looked up into the midnight sky, the glint of the stars reflecting in my own eyes, wanting to reach out for them. I was 7 years old, and walking down that road in Jejuri, my small village in the heart of India, with a great temple towering over me with its powerful god. As I looked up at the stars, the vast infinity made me doubt my dreams. I looked at my father and I said, "Daddy, who am I? What can I do?" And he told me, "You are a learner. You can learn anything." "You are a learner, my son," he said. "You can learn anything." The satellite rolled out in the bullock cart was called the Ariane Passenger Payload Experiment, the less popular long form of the acronym APPLE. It was a spacecraft being tested in the hinterlands of India, and to test the antenna, they had to bring the satellite out of the hangar. The metallic trucks interfered with the signal, and they rolled out the satellite in a bullock cart. And to roll out a spacecraft in a bullock cart, you need to be able to believe that you can do anything. You need to be taught knowing that even if you cannot do something now, you can learn it, like right now. I was taught with a few books and a common sense. I did not need technology. You can do anything. All you need is a dream, a bit of inspiration, and the ability to make do with what you have. Like that day in 1979, they did not have a fancy truck with non-metallic padding to prevent the reflecting signals. Someone looked across the fancy hangar where this dream satellite was sheltered into the fields where a bullock cart was standing and thought, non-metallic object. Non-metallic object. Such a simple concept, right? But something that even the best students cannot grasp, because like my father taught me and I grew up to be a teacher, I find students that say, "Sir, I don't know how to do this experiment." And I say, "Learn how to." And when they tell me they do not have the equipment or the money to do something, I tell them the story of the satellite being rolled out in a Bullock cart. I tell them that they did not need a truck to roll out their dream project. A Bullock cart did just fine. And you know how many Bullock carts were there in India back then? 13.5 million. 13.5 million vehicles existed that were qualified to carry satellites that would fulfill the country's dream of conquering space. More than enough for every satellite you could dream of. The security guard's uncle probably owned the Bullock cart. We always know someone who knows someone who has the perfect something that can be that perfect low-cost solution. There are other stories. A surgeon using cheap paper clips for surgery, making self-help groups for small loans instead of big. That is how I learned, from second-hand books and low-tech microscopes. I was brought up to think not fancy amphitheater where I can perform my work to sophisticated audiences. I think quiet space, people listening, performance. While teaching, I think not of the limitations of the situation, but the ability of my students to use what they have. And like my father told me when I doubted my dreams, I tell them the only thing that I know. I tell them that they are stars, they are learners, that they can learn anything. We will shoot to the stars in rockets launching barely a kilometer away from a field plowed with Stone Age technology. We are astronauts with Bullock carts capable of interstellar travel. We travel from one star to the next without fuel. The very gravity that ties us down slingshots our spaceships to the nearest planets. The very gravity of our culture makes us rooted enough to touch the stars, and believe me, we touch stars every day. We are a nation of 1.1 billion stars. Every village is a galaxy with planets and supernovas. Every time one star speaks with the next, we are not just communicating, we are doing interstellar travel, and our words are wormholes to reach to the furthest reaches of this galaxy. The universe is right here. And all you need is a Bullock cart pulled by oxen that can destroy any Battlestar Galactica. When your spaceship gets stuck in a rut, you can climb out and push it out. I do not know about the universe up there, but this constellation of 1.1 billion hungry stars, you can touch each and every one of those in your lifetime. All you need is a Bullock cart to carry your dreams in. So that was my poem, Bullock Cart Nation. I hope you enjoyed it. It means a lot to me. For me, it encompasses all the Indian values of jugaad, of doing things in a very low budget, but still managing to equal and be up to the mark in something as amazing as space travel, and something that only a few nations have managed to accomplish, but doing this with the limited resources that you can have. I hope that one day this poem will be read by many people, and hopefully they will take heart from the fact from this story that when they want to go out and do something, they will not be worried about something which in my opinion is very trivial, money and resources. Whatever little you have, you can do an infinite amount in that. Moving on from Bullock Cart Nation, my next poem is going to be almost a poem, but it's also something that is hip-hop. And with me is my percussionist and brother in rhythm, Parag Bhide. Parag, say hi to everyone.
Hi guys.
Hi. Yeah, so Parag is a percussionist, and we're using something called a loop station. A loop station is an electronic device where you record music and sounds, and then it plays back in a loop. So everything that you are going to hear now is basically sounds that Parag is going to create for you. And this next poem is something called Lemon Goli. Lemon Goli is a poem that is basically from the point of view of a person selling lemon goli at a bus stand. I know all of you must have seen them. They carry trays and around bus stands, and they go lemon goli, lemon goli, lemon goli. And I've used that repetitive poetic device, repetitive element as a poetic device, and created a commentary on the current state of consumerism and capitalism, and I hope something which is the inherent state of frustration that we have for this very commercial society that we live in today, and with so much going on concerning money. I think this poem is very relevant in this day and age. So, presenting to you, Lemon Goli. बोला लेमन 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 है बोला लेमन है लेमन ले लो ना लाइफ हैज हैंडेड मी अ लेमन बट नॉट फॉर पाँच रुपये zone. I was conceived in this zone, this labor class zone, this inspiration for left-wing communism and this potential vote bank for populist policies and minimum wage schemes and fallacies. While the economy runs on, I sit at the end point of crony capitalism, selling lemon at 5 rupaila don, 5 rupaila don, 5 rupaila don. The vernacular is a drone, but you keep talking on your phone and you are still in my zone, just a few levels up on the food chain. A corporate slave with an EMI to sustain. The same companies that make the stuff on my tray, Lemon Goli, helps your nausea take its way. So you will not puke on this dirty ride like I tried not to puke on the dirty bus that the economy has given me. Lemon is useful, but it's not your only परेशानी. प्यास लगी है बोला पानी बॉटल 20 रुपए, पानी बॉटल 20 रुपए, पानी बॉटल 20 रुपए, पानी बॉटल 20 रुपए, 20 rupees, 20 rupees, 20 rupees. इस नल का पानी with a plastic seal. It's easy to make you less queasy. ठंडा and chilled on my tray. For 20 rupees only, 20 रुपए, 20 रुपए for 20 rupees. Don't turn away, don't turn away. Buy a bottle. I know you are chill, but it's okay. For 20 रुपए, I will get 2 rupees. The दुकानदार for which I am supposed to give clean water at this stand. Where I stand and you stand, this bus stand. Effectively, I exist selling पानी. पानी बॉटल 20 रुपए, पानी बॉटल 20 रुपए. नल का पानी पियो मत मैडम, सेफ नहीं होता. But I would not know anything about safe. But who am I? I am the last person in this chain of pyramid selling who gets screwed. I have no money to do anything except say pani bottle, pani bottle, pani bottle. And like this sensual ad, madam, don't believe the authority and the purity of tap water. Take pani bottle at 20 rupaya and play safe. Look at me in disdain and give me 2 rupees ka profit as you chat away and play safe. Unlike me, because the consumeristic and capitalistic system that I am a slave to will definitely give me a disease one day. So thank you. That was Lemon Goli. I hope again you enjoyed it.